All right, y'all. Today we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business. We're gonna check its local and city searches and see if they got BSS for any of them. And we're back here in the GBC universe where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city. As always, our North Star is FSIC, aka full spectrum intent capture. If you want more info on that, yeah, somewhere pin post, pin video on the profile. And it's our North Star because FSIC explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. Those that are rising, they're probably bringing in peeps from the entire intent ladder, the intent spectrum. High intent here on the left to low intent way over on the right. Here we talk about the highest intent peeps, Google search, social media search, searching right now for a boudoir photo shoot in our city. That's where we talk about BSS. All the way at the other end, those are interruption ads like Facebook, Instagram. It's our other brand, Boudoir FB Ad Doctor, where we talk about BLCS. And right now over there, we're only working with boudoir photographers spending more than 10 grand a month on boudoir Facebook ads. So we're focusing on the two intent extremes right now. So here we're talking about BSS, which is boudoir search sameness. As when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. 0 slots means if we're not on page 1, we basically don't exist. We're on page 2 or deeper. And we already know that approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page 1. So that's the bulk of the market, that's most of the market. And if they have zeros, basically if we're in 0 slots on page 1, we're basically invisible and we're going downhill pretty fast. 1 slot on page 1, Google is not good enough either, because every other boudoir photographer on there is also going to have most likely 1 slot. So, if there's 10 organic slots per Google, search page, the a buyer is just going to be clicking on everyone's website, contacting everyone, price shopping us against literally everyone, and as a result, we're actually going to, we're actually going to not stand out, be price shopped. People probably go to the lowest bid, all things like that. So boudoir search sameness, no bueno. We also know that 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google is not normal. Yeah, it's not normal to have such few number of slots for ourselves on page 1 of Google. Extremely common, but not normal. This is actually the symptom of 2 deeper root causes. There's 2 deeper root causes. One, basically everyone knows about, market saturation, and another one, basically nobody knows about, the false belief of page 1 equality. So first, market saturation, that's someone getting a new iPhone, then they're throwing up their Google My Business profile saying they shoot boudoir. Now they got a website saying they shoot boudoir, saturating the market. Or someone gets a new camera, now they're posting the mom groups saying that for boudoir photo shoots. So it's more sellers to the same number of buyers, driving down the price for everyone. And usually this results in other boudoir photographers kind of getting kicked out of the market, going bankrupt, closing down shop. Now, basically everyone knows that, and also a big thing that happened with that was COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs, still to earn money, became boudoir photographers because everyone's got a great camera on their phone, on their cell phone. And so that was another, supply shock, seller shock. Way more sellers to the same number of buyers. It was when COVID happened. Now the not currently very known false belief of page 1 equality. That belief is that kind of every boudoir photographer gets, 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And, maybe we had our website ranked on page 1 of Google, but then more boudoir photographers came in, kicked us down to page 2, and like, oh, that's simply that's simply how it is. Kind of just we simply gotta take what Google gives us. Hopefully the other person closes down and deletes their website so Google can maybe pull us back onto page 1. But it's kind of out of our hands. That's the belief of page 1 equality, whereas every boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1, and that's simply how it is. But that's a false belief. I know that's a false belief because I went from 0 out of 10 slots on Google page 1 search to 9 out of 10 slots Google page 1 search in 10 days. Why? Because I knew page 1 equality is a false belief, And my hypothesis was Google would give me as many slots as I want, page one slots as I wanted to put in the effort to acquire for whichever keywords I want to put in the effort to acquire them from. So that's exactly what I did, which we'll see those results in, whatever, 2 or 3 more pictures. So page one equality, false belief. We also know that boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness, so having either 0 or 1 slots page one of Google, is a disappearing boudoir photographer. Because look, if you got 0 slots on page one, we already know approximately 80% of Google searches do not go past page one. So we're invisible to 80% of the marketplace. So yeah, we're definitely disappearing. For 1 slot on page one, we're looking the same as everyone else. We're price shopped to death. We're disappearing as well. And this is kind of the canary in the coal mine, where BSS causes disappearing boudoir photographers, and basically all disappearing boudoir photographers also have BSS, what kind of is foreshadowing for the eventual disappearance of the entire boudoir photography business. So this is the canary in the coal mine. So we got to solve first. We got to stop the bleeding here. And luckily we have a solution, because we now have learned through extensive testing that BSS is treated with social search saturation. This is our S-cubed methodology. We invented it. You cannot get this solution from anybody else. And social search saturation is exactly what it says. We saturate social search, or the highest intent search terms, to show up there and kick everyone else out. These are kind of like, the smaller rivers that feed into the Amazon. And kind of when we do that successfully, that flows down into the Amazon, flows into Google. And many times Google will start giving us more and more page one slots for those more and more keywords we're ranking for in social search. That's why it's called social search saturation S-cubed methodology. We want to be saturating social search at all times, because if we're not, someone else in our city probably is. If nobody is, then we got the first mover advantage to do it. So S-cubed methodology, the magical thing about this is the only thing I've ever seen for boudoir photographers that can successfully fight against market saturation and essentially render it, null and void. Because imagine we're in Miami, Florida. Let's say there's 1 million boudoir photographers. Everyone's got a website for their boudoir photography business. They're ranking it. They're competing for page one Google search. But let's say we take S-cubed methodology to the max. We rank for the first, 300 slots for the highest intent search terms for boudoir in our city across all the major social media platforms. So we saturate social search. We're there. Can't find anyone until slot 301 and after. As a result, we're saturating the first 300 slots on Google as well. Well, each page on Google is 10 organic slots, and so that's 30 pages. You gotta go page. Basically, any buyer's gotta go page 31 to find any of our 999,999 competitors, because we cranked S-cubed methodology up to the maximum. So, whose business is growing? Ours. Whose business is growing the fastest in the city? Ours, because buyers can essentially really only find us, because we're everywhere they look. Basically, we're gonna kick out, box out all the other competitors, and we already know, approximately 80% of Google searches never go past page one, so they definitely ain't going to page 31. So this is what S-cubed methodology enables us to do for all those who want to put in the effort to achieve it. Now, once you're with S-cubed methodology, we have page one visibility. We're finally visible on page one, even though if we had 1 slot there, we're not actually visible there because we look the same as everyone else. We get an added bonus of this where we're kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. They get kicked out to page 2 or deeper. And again, we know approximately 80% of boudoir photographers, or approximately 80% of Google searches never go to page 2. They're page 1 only searches, which means page 2 and deeper is invisible, disappearing boudoir photographer, canary in the coal mine. Eventually, the boudoir photography business will disappear. So we achieve page 1 visibility once we overcome market saturation and page 1. We crash through the false belief of page 1 equality. And page 1 visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. So here we want to hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots on page 1 for local search and city search. Because when we're at 3 out of 10 slots, I mean, we've kicked off at least 2 to 3 other competitors from page 1. Also, compared to everyone that has 1 slot on page 1, we got 3. People are going to say, wow, why is Google recommending this person so much? They're going to auto trust us more. And the very rare chance someone else has 2 slots on page 1, well, we're at 3, and so we're always beating them. So it activates Boudoir search visibility for us. And a boudoir photographer with BSV is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. This is our micro universe here. We got disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by market saturation and page 1 equality. We now have a solution now, S-cubed methodology. And as a result, we achieve page 1 visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Now onto my results I got using this. So I was using this, I want to rank for the term BLCS boudoir. And I use S-cube methodology. That's exactly what I did. And what I actually did was, here, organic, we started spot 1. We got organic slot 1. We got organic 2. We got organic. So slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10 is me. So I went from 0 out of 10 slots on page 1 to 9 out of 10 slots on page 1 in 10 days. And this is through utilizing SQL methodology that we invented, that cannot get this from anyone else. We invented it, we created it. And so this is the power of SQL methodology. All right, now main event here, we're going to check this boudoir photography business. We're going to check out its local search and its city search. See if they got BSS for either local or their city search, and also see if they're hitting the GBC recommended minimums, 3 out of 10 slots for each. So we're going to Hampton, Virginia, and Newport News, Virginia. All right, let's head over there now. Hampton, Virginia, just no data. All right, so let's see what we got. Go to organic. So boom, we got one. Let's see what else. Let's see. All right, so we got one. So we got 1 out of 10 for local. Yeah. All right, so 1 out of 10 for local. And now let's check city. Let's see. And 1 out of 10 for city. All right, so for both. All right, so we got 1 out of 10 for both. And so that means we got BSS for both of them. And we're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum. 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for either of them. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer and you've actually gone and done the local search for the highest intent keywords for your locale, and you've seen and you've also done it for your city, and you've seen that you got at least one of those has BSS, or you see that at least one you are not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 on Google, then you're seeing this SQ methodology like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Maybe you had been thinking, how can we get more slots on page 1 on Google? So maybe you'd already broken through the false belief of page 1 equality, but now you're like, yes, SQ methodology, that's what I've been looking for. Even though you kind of didn't know what to expect or what it would look like, but you decided, yes, SQ methodology is your way to move forward. So you're like, heck yeah. And you're also understanding the initial benefits of it. More slots, page 1. The 2 initial benefits: more slots, page 1 on Google, kick in more, competing with boudoir photographers off page 1, off to page 2, effectively making them invisible to approximately 80% of the marketplace. And you understand the 2 prongs of market saturation, getting new iPhone or getting new camera, so getting new gear. And you're looking ahead and you're saying, well, you understand AI is going to be taking a ton of people's jobs. So you're like, okay, that is actually going to be the biggest flood, the biggest force of more boudoir photographers into the marketplace, or people who are, even those who are new to boudoir photography, going to compress margins for everyone, lower prices for everyone, going to basically force more competition, page 1 Google search. And so you're saying, all right, I actually need to not only get this many links on page one, you also need to fortify your position right now in preparation for all the new boudoir photographers coming into the market after AI starts taking more and more people's jobs every single day. And you're seeing SQ methodology is also a perfect thing for that as well. It's kind of like building the levees in Nolens, Louisiana, where that city is below sea level. And so once that happens, you're like, or once you're basically seeing the future right now. So you're like, the more links, momentum you can build up to get page one links on Google, the higher chance that the new boudoir photographers never even reach page one, never even reach the links, um, on Google page one. And so when so you're seeing that, and SQ methodology is the way forward, and you want to increase the you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility, because you need those things in order to become number one boudoir photographer in your city. And you also understand kind of the long-term back-end benefits of successfully executing this SQ methodology every single day. And these successful benefits are, basically you're building up kind of these columns, these mindshare columns of peeps who are, kind of these invisible thematic keyword columns that actually, they're kind of like invisible. They're columns attached to, like, the Parthenon in Athens are kind of like invisible columns, like hub and spoke model. So like spokes onto a hub. And these things exist kind of like as AI mindshare. So you understand the future benefits, which is actually the more we successfully execute methodology, the higher probability we're going to be sort of appear AI overview on AI search. And so that probability kind of builds and builds and builds every single day that we do successfully execute methodology. And also the same goes for backend search. Like AI search, like ChatGPT search, like we got Perplexity, Claude, we got Microsoft Copilot search, Google Gemini search, and you're seeing other feature benefits as we're successfully executing SQ methodology actually increase the probability we get a list on AI search for all those as well. So I know last time I searched for boudoir photographers in a city, ChatGPT, it literally recommended 3. And I actually went to go on Google for myself to look at, okay, how many are actually going to be, are actually out here. Dude, there's like 60, like Google Maps and Google Search all combined. And so I was like, all right, we got to do something to really increase the probability that we're increasing search here, that we get on these, because I know I don't standard Google search anything. I'm always using the Google AI overview. And so I know, yeah, standard Google search is still like approximately 90% of all searches, all the search market globally. But dude, AI search getting bigger and bigger every day. So you're seeing that, and you want to actually get kind of those bonuses, those momentum of being shown in these, increase the probability get shown in these searches. And as a result, you also understand that you decide to hop on this first because you'll actually be able to build a ton of momentum and separate yourself from all your competitors. Because I basically my plan currently is to only work with one boudoir photographer in each city. So you're saying you can kind of close off your competitors from using this and put a massive gap between you and them before they even know what's going on, before they even know we've put in the effort to completely dominate page one Google search. And conversely, you're seeing that, oh man, if one of your competitors actually, if one of your competitors actually hops on this first and works with me, well then you'd have to rederive SQ methodology on your own correctly. And when you do that, you would never be 100% confident if you did it, derived it correct or not. And what would actually happen is you'd have to equal our execution. And when you equal our execution, you would simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor would have already built up, kind of above you or ahead of you. So you'd maintain that gap. You'd actually have to double or triple our daily output of execution of SQ methodology to close that gap, kind of pull that AI mindshare brain momentum for those invisible thematic keyword columns away from your competitor and me and back towards yourself. And so it's like, dude, who's got the 80 hours in a day to do all that? So you decide, screw that. You're going to be the number one first mover in your city. Lock the other peeps out. And so if that's you, shoot me a DM. My Well, hospital is currently closed for new patient intake right now, so my DMs are currently closed. But when I do open up the hospital for new patient intake, then shoot me a DM and we'll see if you qualify to utilize our S cubed methodology.